What a wonderful sentence this is. Once upon a time, it opens the door to everything.
We're looking at the new 25,000 square foot, first of its kind in New York simulation center at Bellevue Hospital.
I think there's still a lot of resistance around sexuality because people are afraid to deal with it.
Welcome to Study with the Best, magazine show about CUNY. I'm Dwayne Ferguson. What happens when youth and curiosity meets age and wisdom? Sometimes a little bit more than you'd expect.
To live, to pursue a positive, satisfying existence. I'm Despina Teodorescu Maris. At 28 years old, on an ordinary day as a television producer, I experienced anything but an ordinary day at work the moment Bel Kaufman began to speak.
What it means for me to be 100, strangely enough, very liberating. If I'm asked to do something and I don't want to, I don't have to think up excuses. All I have to say is, oh no, why not? I'm 100. It's a liberating word that I learned, a very short word. No. No, thank you. My time is limited. I need to do what I want to do.
In that moment, I understood. She would give me more than just an interview. Some people may recognize Bel Kaufman more so from the legacy she hails from. Granddaughter of the great Yiddish humorist and author Shalom Aleichem, a successful author and educator herself, a Hunter College graduate.
One more thing you forgot. I'm a good dancer. I don't do all of them at the same time.
Born in Germany but raised in Russia during the Russian Revolution, Bel had somewhat of an unconventional childhood.
I would step over dead bodies that were shot on the street, frozen in grotesque postures. But a child has no basis for comparison. Doesn't every little girl step over dead bodies on the street?
Coming to the United States when she was just 12 years old, Bel started school in the first grade due to her lack of knowledge of the English language.
We used to sing a song every Friday in assembly. Oh, beautiful, verspacious skies. Verspacious. V-E-R, I looked it up in the dictionary. There was no such word. I figured verspacious must be blue. Vermilion is red. So I made up my own language until I understood it.
It wouldn't be until college that she would have a life-altering epiphany when a friend invited her to visit one of the courses she was teaching at Hunter College Elementary School.
I saw all those eyes fixed on me, waiting for something I could give them. An extraordinary feeling. I still get goosebumps when I remember that moment.
And her teaching days are far from over.
I gave a class in Jewish humor this past summer. Most Jewish jokes are self-accusatory.
Why?
Defense mechanism. Before you tell me, you lousy hypochondriac, I'll tell you a funny joke about myself as a hypochondriac.
Perhaps the secret to her longevity lies in the obvious.
Laughter is a way of survival. Well, that was the talk that I gave all over the country when I used to do a lot of that. Surviving through humor.
Do you think laughter is the glue for relationships, for people, for life? Is that the secret?
And love and curiosity. curiosity about the world, people, books. You know people who are 30, who are bored, they know everything, and people who are older, who are interested.
And then it wasn't what she said, but how.
I wish I were your age for one reason only, to know what the world would be like when you are 100. Would I recognize it? I don't think so. So much ahead of you. Are you aware of it?
Not always.
You have so much to see, to feel, to know.
I'm an optimistic person by nature, but in that moment, we were all being given something priceless. Hope.
You seem very moved. Did what I say move you?
I wanted to tell her, please tell me what else is there. I didn't, but she answered my silent cries anyway.
I am no prophet. I am no seer. A young person will look forward to a new world. I hope it's a better world. I can't prognosticate what it will be, but it'll be interesting.
Then, Bel Kaufman gave her most valuable lesson of all.
I knew a woman who was my age, who's no longer living, who used to call me when her husband died. I'm so bored. I have nothing to do. I'm so bored. How dare she be bored? She's alive. She can hear, she can see. How dare she be bored? It's so remarkable to live.
And then those words again.
Just wait till you're 100. Just wait.
Thank you, Teach.
Doug Quint is a professional bassoonist.
Westchester Philharmonic, Brooklyn Philharmonic, Pro Arte Chamber Orchestra in Boston.
And while studying for his doctorate at the CUNY Grad Center, little did he know he'd go from making sweet music to making...
The Salty Pimp is our most popular cone by a lot. It's vanilla ice cream, dulce de leche, sea salt, and chocolate dip.
With a little bit of caramel. It's good. It's really good.
Doug, you see, is the owner of the wildly successful...
Big Gay Ice Cream. You know I dream. Big Gay Ice Cream.
The line's always down the block, and I can never come.
My favorite's anything with the sea salt, and she loves the red Merlin.
The strange thing is, for the first summer, everyone just looked at it and laughed. Now it's even stranger because they look at it and recognize it from TV.
A few years ago, Doug was a freelance musician and student.
And when I was finishing the comprehensive exams, I thought, you know, instead of traveling this summer and running around to summer festivals, I will just stay in New York and do some strange, completely unrelated to music job.
That's when a Juilliard friend offered him a chance to be an ice cream man.
What could be weirder than driving an ice cream truck?
But he loved it. And because many orchestras were scaling back their performing schedules, in 2009 he bought his own used ice cream truck. Many swirls of vanilla and chocolate later, Doug found his niche, specialty toppings.
This one is elderflower syrup. In addition to vanilla ice cream with chocolate sprinkles, you can get vanilla ice cream with wasabi pea dust on it.
Who comes up with these concoctions?
My boyfriend and I, sort of 50-50.
Doug's outgoing personality and masterful use of social media factor into his success.
We had no idea that food trucks would be such a huge cultural phenomenon right now. That was just lucky timing. The birth of Twitter coinciding with the truck, and the fact that my sense of humor comes across well on Twitter. Today I tweeted, I'm going to be at Union Square from 2 to 5, moving uptown, and then I tweeted a line from the Daniel Day-Lewis movie. I drink your milkshake!
And his empire is expanding. Doug and boyfriend Brian Petroff have recently added the Big Gay Ice Cream Shop on 7th Street between 1st Avenue and Avenue A.
It's really interesting that CUNY and this whole thing intersected the way they did because, I mean, I have a book contract now. We're working on Big Gay Ice Cream book. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without the study skills I picked up working on my doctorate.
And will Doug ever return to classical music?
You know, I think my life has divided itself in half, the bassoon half and the ice cream truck half. And I'm sure they'll find a way to coexist. But right now, my head is split down the center.
Banana split down the center.
Oh.
Gay ice cream.
Barry Mitchell, Study with the Best.
My name is Zujaja Takir. I'm a student at Brooklyn College and the Macaulay Honors College. I'm a history major and I'm also pre-med. I am a young Muslim woman who's really found her voice intellectually. I am happiest when I'm surrounded by my family. You can imagine in a house of 2 doctors, a medical student, and a 10-year-old, there's very little opportunities for everybody to be together. When I was in Pakistan, because we had been settled there were well-defined roles for everyone. And once we came here, all those roles suddenly changed because all of us had to start over again. My father and my mother both had to re-enter medicine, take all their exams again, re-enter residency. Me and my sister had to acclimate to a new educational system, and we all did it together. The most humbling moment has really been winning the Rhodes Scholarship because it's the moment you realize you don't deserve it. I think everybody should look into themselves, find one thing that they believe is more important than everything else, and really stick to that and find in that the purpose for why you live the way you live and what you see yourself doing in the future. That's me, that's CUNY.
I'm Grant Greenberg for CUNY TV. Before baseball players ever step up to the plate, they log thousands of hours in a batting cage. Pilots log thousands of hours in a flight simulator before they ever take off in a plane. And now doctors, nurses, emergency responders, and medical students, well, they can log countless hours at this new state-of-the-art simulation center right here at Bellevue Hospital. It's a partnership between the City University of New York and NYU Langone Medical Center.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, cut!
The ribbon cutting is real. The rest is as realistic as it gets. You're looking at the new 25,000 square foot, first of its kind in New York simulation center at Bellevue Hospital.
Rare events occur, and you have to prepare for rare events.
That's why CUNY Chancellor Matthew Goldstein is proud to team up with NYU Langone Medical School's Dean Dr. Robert Grossman to provide training for medical, emergency, and other healthcare personnel.
Through simulation, healthcare professionals in training can now master their technical skills and validate their competency in all different procedures before they work with actual patients.
The center opened just a few days before the 10th anniversary of 9/11 and within a week of a hurricane and earthquake that affected New York City. Trainees will respond to emergencies large and small through simulated real-world scenarios from multiple patient triage and incident command to homebound patient care and surgical emergencies. Private donations, along with more than $20 million that State Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver helped allocate, paid for this project. It's one Silver, who was home in Lower Manhattan during the World Trade Center attack, is proud to be part of.
It's safe to say that we can never be too prepared for emergency. This simulation center is yet another example of the kinds of things that can be accomplished when the public and the private sectors work together in partnership.
Dr. Thomas Riles will run the simulation center. 40 years ago, he says he learned to practice medicine by following doctors around and serving as an apprentice. He says technology and these lifelike mannequins, along with cameras to monitor and evaluate every move, will better prepare medical professionals.
It is our belief that the training received at this center will increase the likelihood that any one of us, whether stricken by a heart attack or injured by debris from a bomb, will survive.
The center has multiple simulation rooms, including a disaster training room, a 5-bed ICU, 2 operating rooms, trauma rooms, a labor and delivery room, and 14 patient examination rooms. The mannequins, which cost nearly $100,000 each, can simulate hundreds of physiological events like respiratory distress, blood loss, and drug reactions. The Department of Homeland Security believes this is a huge asset for New York and hopes it serves as a model for other schools and hospitals.
The immediate goal of this center is to train emergency management and medical personnel to respond to small-scale emergencies, mass casualties, and other catastrophic events. But on a more basic level, the center's purpose is really nothing less than to protect the health and safety of the American people.
Dr. Grossman and Chancellor Goldstein say it's also what our local colleges and universities need to be all about.
We train so many health professionals, and we have to be on the cutting edge of new ways in which to educate our people. And I think there's a moral obligation for we to use the great resources of the university to prepare for things that we hope will never have to happen.
And now for a closer look at the mannequins, the technology, and the simulations that will be taking place here, we go to Donna Hanover.
Thanks, Grant. Because the idea for the Simulation Center was born shortly after the 9/11 attacks, there is tremendous interest in the way that it can help prepare medical personnel for a real catastrophe of great proportions.
Let's secure our tube. Let's prepare to roll him and make sure that there's no other trauma on his back that we're not seeing.
This is the emergency room, and with me is Dr. Heather Mahoney, who is...
I'm one of the simulation co-chairs for the emergency department at NYU and Bellevue hospitals.
This is actually the emergency room of the simulation area.
Right now we are, and yes.
So what's wrong with this guy? What happened to him?
So this gentleman here is a patient who got hit by some flying debris during Hurricane Irene and has sustained some head trauma. So the patients are going to have to, the residents are going to have to resuscitate the patient and possibly intubate due to the head trauma.
What is the value of having a mannequin like this, which is very costly? What is the value to medical personnel?
Well, this helps simulate the actual hospital environment and increase the stress of the residents as they're trying to learn, help them actually take care of patients safer when they actually do encounter them in the emergency department for the first time.
Another area of the Simulation Center has a mannequin ready for an emergency C-section, and Dr. Andrew Rosenberg says practicing on her is better than the old way of learning. I've had 2 C-sections. I would have liked my doctor to have been able to practice on a mannequin.
Well, the old days it used to be see one, do one, teach one, and now we actually want to have people practicing on mannequins before they go to the operating room so they actually know how to handle patients and take care of them.
These simulation mannequins are known as Sim Man, or in this case, Sim Woman, since she's having an emergency C-section. Afterwards, the medical personnel can review video shot from cameras above to make sure they've given the best care possible. I'm Donna Hanover for CUNY TV.
Great moments in CUNY history. City College, long nicknamed the poor man's Harvard, was originally called the Free Academy when it opened in 1849, the first free public institution of higher learning in the United States. In 1906, what we now call City College moved uptown to its current Harlem location. Finally, in 1961, City College was folded into the newly created CUNY system, where it remains the oldest and most revered of all 23 CUNY colleges.
know, we live in a culture that doesn't treat sex as a natural and normal part of our lives. I think that's unfortunate. There's still so many taboos around it, even though we have lots of imagery of sex in terms of selling things. But in terms of having real conversations about sex and getting real information that can actually help people's lived lives, we don't have that. I've been working on my own model for sexuality because I feel that the models we have are fairly limited. Many people in my field, particularly in academia, tend to define sexuality based on sexual health. But I see it as a much bigger thing. I believe that our sexuality actually is our core energy. We don't just use it for sex, but we use it to create things in the world. We use it for art. We use it in the ways in which we engage in our lives. I grew up in a single-parent home with my dad, and he was in the military. My dad was not someone I could talk to about sexuality and about the concerns that were coming up for me. I got absolutely no sex education in school, and I felt incredibly isolated and went through some really painful experiences. And it really wasn't until I went to college that I got information about sexuality and about my body. I felt like, why did I have to wait this long? Like, it's ridiculous. And it was from that place that I chose to be a sexuality educator. I want you to think back, scratch your head a little bit. Think back to when you were growing up. What were the messages that you were getting about sexuality from your parents, from your peers, from the media, from your school? This isn't just about sex. It might be about sex, but also gender and identity and roles. You had so much to say a moment ago.
Boys do it. Boys will be boys. Girls just don't have sex. Stay a good girl.
What are you saying? Boys and girls got different messages? Yes, we'll talk about that tonight. I've actually been working with teachers for many, many years around how we can address sexuality and have a healthier sexuality. It's mind-blowing to me that we're still having a debate about this in this country. I'm very much a proponent of comprehensive sexuality education. I think that it is every person's right to learn about their sexuality. It is something that impacts our lives on so many levels, and it impacts the lives of students on so many levels who are going through puberty or approaching puberty, learning about their bodies, confused about their bodies, learning how to have relationships, friendships, learning what love is, how do they express that. Ask what I do, and sexuality is at the center of everything that I do. My students get the passion that I have for life and for the issues that I'm talking about. And I think that comes from that place of feeling very driven to make the world a better place, and that the work that I do is in service to that. And art has really allowed me to tell stories about sexuality and gender, to explore my own experience in a way that allows me to express myself creatively, and that creative piece is really important for me. Ultimately, I really figured out that my being an artist and an activist is what makes me who I am as a professor, as an academic. Those pieces inform everything that I do and who I am in the institutions in which I work. I know that I give my students something very different. I give them a different perspective.
So thanks for watching Study with the Best. If you want to see more stuff CUNY, log on to www.cuny.tv. Well, we're going to close the show with an original song by PhD candidate Brooke Bryant. Song, The Battle of March. See you next time.
My name is Brooke Bryant. I have a PhD in the music department here at the CUNY Graduate Center. I'm an adjunct professor at a couple of different universities in New York, teaching music history classes. I'm also a musician, singer-songwriter, and I play with a band.
Take the pieces.